Shocking revelations and unexpected earth-shattering changes give way to a more compassionate, harmonious existence as a direct result of the annular solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius on February 17th of 2026. This eclipse is the very first in the sign of Aquarius, giving us a sneak preview of what will fully manifest and culminate later on this year, especially in July and August of this year as the lunar nodes change signs and we enter into the next series of eclipses, which will fully be moved into the signs of Leo and Aquarius. Because the lunar nodes are still in the signs of Pisces and Virgo, this eclipse is going to bring more along the lines of messages and premonitions, sort of a prelude to what's to come a little bit later on down the line, especially as we get into the eclipse in the sign of Leo on August 12th of 2026. This is the very beginning of something being seeded, something that hasn't even grown roots yet. And while this eclipse does carry an energy around new beginnings, it's also about shocking endings and unexpected changes, because Mars, the planet of action, willpower, and the malefic planet of challenges, hardships, separations, arguments, disputes, and things coming up very quickly and suddenly, is in a conjunction with the sun and moon as a part of this new moon eclipse configuration, and it's forming a square with Uranus at the end degrees of Taurus. This is going to be bringing up some big dramatic changes. This really highlights something in our lives that we've been really needing to break free from, and it's our last chance to do so before Uranus moves into the sign of Gemini fully and completely on April 25th of 2026, which is just around the corner. And while the few days before and after the new moon eclipse and this activation of Mars square Uranus will be disruptive, they will bring a lot of agitation, frustration, anxiety for some people. The real push, the real change comes just 10 days later on the 27th of February when that Mars square to Uranus comes exact. This is where a shock and awe moment will come to pass for the collective, but for a lot of us as well. It doesn't mean it happens right on the dot, right on the day, but basically the eclipse is going to be activating or highlighting a big energy, a big need to change something, or something that comes out of the blue, out of nowhere, that completely shatters our old paradigm and forces us to make a big important change that we otherwise wouldn't have made because we were too comfortable. This is going to really take hold again around the 27th when that activation turns into an exact square of Mars and Uranus. This is where you actually have to make the change. The thing actually comes about. It's kind of like there's an initial seeding of this, there's an initial shock, and then there is an after effect, an aftermath. And this is where you're actually having to do the work to make the changes, to take the action, to exercise your will, to be the change and create the change rather than having the change come in from the outside to shake you to your core. You want to make sure that you are participating and directing and guiding that change because you listened to what came up at the time of the eclipses. You paid attention and you knew that you needed to pivot very quickly because of this energy coming up on the 27th. Also, if you are somebody that was hit really hard by the eclipses and you find that around the 17th, especially maybe 5 days before and after, things got really crazy, just know that there's another big point of disruption coming up around the 27th. And so you want to plan lightly around that time, because even if you feel like you know where things are headed after that first initial moment, that first initial shock, there is more that needs to be revealed. There is another awakening coming. There is more change coming your way. And there's something that you could never have expected that needs to be thrown into the mix, or that will be thrown into the mix, again, just a few days later around the 27th. At the same time, there is also a much softer, more supportive energy surrounding the eclipse. Venus, exalted in the sign of Pisces, is in a conjunction with the karmic north node, and they are making a trine with Jupiter, which is also exalted in the sign of Cancer. So what does this mean? Well, because this eclipse is split between this Aquarius sort of chaotic energy with the Mars square to Uranus and the karmic north node, which is the determining factor of an eclipse even happening, in a conjunction with Venus in this very elevated state. This shows us that even though the energy of the eclipse itself is going to feel like it's rattling our cages, it's going to feel chaotic, we're not going to know which way is up and which way is down, there's going to be a lot going on all at once, the end result of this is harmonious, it's beneficial, it's beautiful, it's going to create more beauty and connectivity in all of our lives in one way or another. It's leading us somewhere important. It's leading us to align ourselves with our destiny and to embrace that much more fully. And it's providing opportunities that will come up very easily as a result of making those changes and having to go through that period of instability. And so this isn't for nothing. It isn't just chaos for the sake of chaos. It's because we need to break free of something in order to pave the way for something that's more aligned, for something that our soul potentially chose to embrace and to move into and to connect with in this lifetime before we even incarnated, if that's something that you subscribe to. And so I love that part of this eclipse. And even though it's disruptive, it's kind of like a change that we've been needing to make anyway. It's a change that if we weren't in this period of discomfort, where things felt agitating, where things felt uncertain, where things felt uncomfortable in some way, we would not break free, we would not make the change, and then the opportunity would not come up for us later on because we would still be holding on to all of this stuff that, yeah, it's comfortable, but we've grown complacent and we don't realize that, hey, this actually is maybe not in our best interest. It's not in our highest good. And so I do really like that component of the energy. And so I do feel like for a lot of people, this is going to give way to something that's overwhelmingly positive. And so while a big part of this eclipse is going to feel uncomfortable for a lot of people, and I'd be doing you a disservice if I told you otherwise, I also want you to know and to have the sense of perspective that things are not going to stay that way and that it's leading us somewhere and that there is a lot of good in this eclipse and in this eclipse season, even if it feels very difficult to see that in the moment. And for the difficult part of this, I am here to help you navigate. And so in this video, we're going to cover everything you need to know to navigate the energy of this annular solar eclipse in Aquarius, including a forecast for your rising, sun, and moon sign. And if you're new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss an important astrology update. I upload a new video, forecast, or tutorial every single Saturday at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And so you don't want to miss any of that, especially during this really crazy eclipse season, because there's definitely going to be more videos to come. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any other podcasting platform, it really helps us out if you subscribe, follow, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm just starting to put things out in podcast format, and so your support means a lot at the beginning right now. And so definitely make sure you do that. And also, if you haven't already done so, make sure you download my free Astrology 101 quick reference guide, so that way you can have a better understanding of your own chart, your own placements, all of the energies behind the planet, signs, houses, and aspects, because you're going to get a lot more out of not just this forecast, but every forecast that I do here on YouTube. And so again, 100% free. Download that at the link in the description below. And finally, if you would like even more support navigating this eclipse season, you are in luck, because my Karmic Power of Eclipses workshop is on sale now for 50% off down at the link in the description below. This is for you if you want to understand not just this eclipse, but all eclipses, past, present, and future, and how they're going to be impacting you every 6 months for the rest of your life, because that's really when these eclipses happen. They're very frequent and they're often very life-changing. Some eclipses are much more powerful than others. For example, this annular solar eclipse is kind of third in command in the different levels of eclipse power and intensity, which you'll learn about in the Karmic Power of Eclipses. But you're also going to learn how to determine which eclipses are going to be impacting you more powerfully, and exactly how and why and when they're going to be impacting you, because the results of the eclipses don't always come about at the time of the eclipse. There are these activations that occur for days, weeks, and even months afterward, where the eclipse story unfolds. And you're going to learn all about that in the karmic power of eclipses. You're also going to learn about your pre and postnatal eclipse and what that means in your birth chart. You'll understand what it means to be born near an eclipse, and you're going to learn about the lunar nodes and so much more. Again, the link is down in the description below. 50% off until midnight on March 5th. Shortly after that second eclipse, which is happening in Virgo. All right, without further ado, let's get into the forecast for all 12 signs. For Aries and for Aries rising, expect the unexpected in the area of friends, social networks, and people you surround yourself with by choice. You might get a shocking, unexpected message, a new friendship that comes in out of nowhere, or an ending of a long-standing friendship that you've grown complacent with that maybe is no longer serving your highest good, or just no longer needs to be a part of your life, even if it feels sad or uncomfortable or difficult, because it's blocking your path. It's blocking you from creating the right connections that you need. There's definitely a disruptive energy coming from your social circle or happening within your social circle around the time of the eclipse and shortly thereafter. This eclipse energy is also highlighting the path that you're going to be moving into later on down the line, especially after July and August of this year, where you're going to be embracing new types of friendships, where your social circle is going to expand in a way that's very fated, very karmic, very aligned with your destiny. You are going to be making those karmic connections, those soul connections that you really set up prior to even incarnating in this lifetime. And so this is a very powerful moment in time where you're going to get those messages, you're going to get those signs, you're going to get those synchronicities. And you might even have synchronistic new connections that come up right now that maybe don't fully turn into something until this summer or in August when we have that eclipse in Leo. And so that could be a big part of this as well. There's also new opportunity, especially when it comes to your creativity, your spirituality, your subconscious realms. This is a really beautiful time where clearing away the clutter and having to make changes when it comes to the way that you engage with other people in not just real life, but maybe even in social media and other forms of connection, it's going to create space for a lot more rest, a lot more ease. You definitely need to move into and embrace a little bit more solitude, seclusion, deep self-exploration, meditation. This would be a really wonderful time to think about going on some sort of spiritual retreat after all of the dust has settled. And so I love this energy for that. This could also create sort of behind the scenes subconsciously, if you're working with something energetically, it could create new opportunities involving your home, your family, your property, or real estate. And so even though what you're going through right now is potentially connected to your social connections and your friendships, there's also a financial component that you need to change and break free from. And I'm wondering, between that and doing like the inner work, the energetic work, the subconscious work, it opens up an opportunity for a better living situation or a better connection with your parents or a better family life in some way. For Taurus and for Taurus rising. For Taurus, this new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius is happening in your 10th house of career and public reputation. You might have already gone through some changes in this area because you've had Uranus in your sign, and if your midheaven is in your 10th house, then it could have been, shaking things up a little bit there. But this is really the need to embrace something or take action on something or change something related to your career. There's a new opportunity you need to jump on. There is an old career path or job you need to separate from. There is a disruption coming from you where you're feeling like you need to rebel against the status quo in your business or in the way that you make your mark or leave your mark on the world, the legacy that you leave behind, even after you're no longer here on this physical plane. There's definitely something there where, to me, it looks like more you need to speak up for yourself. There's going to be an argument, a dispute, a disagreement that comes in out of nowhere that's very shocking, or an opportunity that's very shocking and very disruptive that causes you to have to pivot and change things really abruptly. The changes that you're making, if you do have to separate yourself from a job or a career path or something along those lines, can open up opportunities for you to connect and network with the right people that will bring in the right opportunities, the opportunities that are more aligned with your destiny, with what your soul came here to accomplish, achieve, and evolve into. And so that could be a big part of it. It could also just be a lot of frustration frustration. Like your work could just be so chaotic and frustrating right now, and you're seeing the message loud and clear. You're getting the message loud and clear. You need to change something. And by the summer, it's very likely that you will. For Gemini and for Gemini rising, this energy is happening in your 9th house, which is the house of higher education, wisdom, your perspective on life that you gain through not just your philosophical and religious ideologies, but through your direct experience in life, through the adventures that you have, through the other cultures and countries that you connect with. This is all about shaking things up when it comes to your belief systems. The way that you view reality is very likely to change. You're about to go through a reckoning and an awakening when it comes to your world view. And so this is going to be a big energy there. There could also be an unexpected disruption to travel plans that are already in place, or an unexpected, very urgent need to travel, or a very unexpected, urgent need to change something when it comes to a higher educational pursuit. Or if you are a teacher, there could be a disruption to your plans when it comes to the knowledge that you're sharing with other people. This is all paving the way for something though. So if you have to, let's say you realize that you don't qualify for a certain position until you complete a certain degree or you get a certain education, this is going to pave the way for really fated, really beautiful, harmonious opportunities for you when it comes to your career and financial opportunities moving forward. If your worldview has changed, it's going to, again, pave the way for you to do something different when it comes to the way that you leave your mark on the world or your big ambitions and career goals. And again, opens up financial opportunity. If it's travel that is disruptive right now or disrupted even, again, there's something here that needs to be shifted, and it's gonna lead the way for career and financial opportunity. And so pay attention to new connections that come in with people who are in positions of power, people who can help elevate you, people who can help take their authority and boost you up with that authority that they hold, people that you look up to. There could be someone new coming into the mix that can really take your career to the next level. For Cancer and for Cancer rising, this new moon total solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius is happening in your 8th house, which is the house of death and rebirth. It's the house of deep psychological issues, trauma, fears. It's the house of the occult and magic. And so there's a lot going on here. It's definitely the house also of power and control issues. First and foremost, I would say there could be something very disruptive coming in through social connections or involving your partner or your partner's resources, or maybe even a business partner's resources that you have to take action on really quickly. There could be the need to pivot something when it comes to investments or a debt, or there could be an unexpected bill that comes in and it feels very earth-shattering and it's like, oh God, what's happening? I have to deal with this. But in the end, dealing with this and making the changes that you need to make to your budget, to your finances, to address the need to pivot, that's going to open things up for you. It's going to open up avenues for travel. It's going to open up avenues for a higher perspective on life. It's going to shift your worldview in some way. I actually really love the Venus part of this energy for you, Cancer, because it's highlighting Jupiter exalted in your sign. It's in the 9th house, which is the house of having just a much more harmonious, beautiful perspective with that wonderful Venus energy involved. And it's kind of like a fated opportunity comes up for you to gain new knowledge, gain new perspective, travel somewhere, connect with an important teacher, share your wisdom broadly. And so, yeah, there's something going on here, but once you break free from the fears, the limitations, the power struggles, the past traumas and anxieties that are being triggered as a result of the disruptive energy happening with the eclipse, you open yourself up to this beautiful, brand new, higher, more peaceful perspective. For Leo and for Leo rising, this new moon, annular solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius, is happening in your 7th house, which is the house of connection, partnership, and marriage. This is a very disruptive energy for any Leo rising people in particular who are in some sort of business partnership or any sort of business collaboration or contract. It's almost as if a contract needs to be severed or shattered and there's a dispute with it, or it comes up very quickly. This could also represent legal issues for Leo rising people in particular, where all of a sudden you're having to go to court, or there's some sort of lawsuit, or again, there's some sort of need to renegotiate or break a contract, especially a business contract or something involving the government in particular. This could be a big energy with that as well. There is potentially a disruption here where it's coming from your partner. Like they're argumentative, they're a little bit more on edge, but it's still up to you to kind of work with them and to not play into that and not get agitated, not be reactionary if that is the case. And it could be that there's something coming from your partner that's causing you to want to pivot or change something in terms of your career and public reputation. It could be a new opportunity that they have that comes in that shifts your career goals and plans or causes you to have to leave a job or start a new one in some way. If you are in a business partnership though, I don't love this. It's showing you what really needs to change pretty dramatically moving forward, regardless of whether or not you stay in that partnership. Same thing could be said for a romantic partnership. If you're already kind of on the rocks and things are on the way out, this could be that defining moment, and it shows you that you need something different moving forward, especially in the summer. That's where this could come more to a head. But if you are in a really stable, really solid, really beautiful partnership, I don't think this is the worst thing in the entire world. It's just kind of like there's an argument and there's a difference in opinion when it comes to goals and ambitions, and you need to address that. And if you don't address it, it's not like it's still going to be a problem later on, right? So this is forcing your hand at that, because there's something new that you're going to be moving into together as a unit, as a couple, when the nodes shift signs this summer and when we have that next series of eclipses beginning in August. I also really love this energy for magic and manifestation. I know it's a little woo, but we have Venus exalted in your 8th house, which is the house of magic and the occult studies, even studying astrology or something like that. This could also be changing things up with your business contracts, business partnerships, work-related contracts, and that opens up avenues for outside income to come in a really beautiful and beneficial way, or the dealings that you're having to address with your actual like romantic partner or spouse helps pave the way for them to create more money, more wealth, more finances, more investments. And so I do really love these things. This is a good time for spiritual practice, for diving into the occult, diving into magic, studying astrology, studying some form of divination, some form of deeper knowledge. And it's almost as if that comes about as a result of the disruption for one reason or another. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. For Virgo and for Virgo rising. So for Virgos, this new moon annular solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius on the 17th is happening in your 6th house, which is the house of health, work, and daily routines. There's something very disruptive to your day-to-day life, your day-to-day work experience. Potentially there could be some sort of acute health issue that comes up, maybe not for you, but for somebody that you have to take care of or care for, or that you already care for. I would take extra caution right now when it comes to your animals, your pets, if you have any, because this is one of those energies where they could run off or there's something could happen. So you want to make sure that their collars and their tags are up to date, that you're always putting them on, that their microchips are up to date if they have them. You just want to make sure that you're covering all of your bases there. And especially if you're going out of town or traveling, which is going to be a very specific subset of my Virgo rising people, make sure you have the best house sitter or pet sitter coming in and they're giving you regular updates. And again, just make sure everything's up to date with that. There could be an unexpected issue or health issue involving a pet. There could also be the need to change something involving your animals or your relationship with your animals. And it comes up because there's some sort of disruption and you're like, oh gosh, what happened? Like my dogs are suddenly fighting with each other and they've never done that before. And it causes you to realize that there's something else going on here that you need to address. If a health issue comes up really suddenly, again, it's showing you that there's something else here that you need to address, because you're going to be moving into a new era of health that is going to be providing you so many opportunities. And that's going to come up later this summer, but you have to make these changes to pave the way. And sometimes you need to be kind of like shocked into doing that. Again, same thing if it's the health of someone else. At the very least, I would say your day-to-day routines are going to be very disrupted, and it could be as a result of needing to take on additional education or needing to travel or something along those lines. Addressing the day-to-day, addressing your health, addressing your, routines and your work especially, that's going to help open things up for you to have more harmonious connections, more harmonious collaborations and contracts. I also really like this eclipse for some of you Virgos who are unattached, for maybe finding a new partnership or deepening a connection with somebody who's a friend, and maybe that turns into something more. Even though there's a lot of craziness going on in health, work, daily routines, and your schedule is going to be all over the place. Make time to connect with your partner if you are in a deep, like long-term relationship, because there's a deepening of that even further. There's something beautiful that you're going to be able to connect over and move into together as a result of this eclipse. But you have to make changes to your day-to-day life and experience. You might even have to make changes to your work in some way in order to facilitate that. For Libra and for Libra rising, this new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius is happening in your 5th house, which is the house of joy and creativity and hobbies and interests and things that you love to do because you're passionate about them. It's also the house of sexuality and sexual expression. It's the house of reproduction and children. And so a lot of different things could be going on here. There's something that you really feel like you want to embrace, jump in on, get started with, that you are very passionate about. But there are a lot of fears, anxieties, or there's someone holding control over you or something holding control over you that's preventing you from doing that. And so that's going to need to be addressed. It could be a financial concern of some kind. There could also be financial concerns that come up very abruptly and quickly involving your children if you have any. And so that's something to pay attention to as well. It is causing you to have to shift or pivot something or change something in the way that you raise your children and deal with your children, or the financial aspect of how you budget for their care. And that's going to pave the way for you to have a much better relationship, a deeper relationship. There's a growth energy here when it comes to your connection with children. If you're somebody who wants to have children but hasn't been able to, there could be something kind of shocking or unexpected like news that comes up. But again, it's going to pave the way for you to be able to grow your family in the way that you want, especially later this summer. And so I do like this energy for that. For the most part, this is a very enthusiastic energy for Libra. It's not as bad as some of the other signs. And also, there's something going on here where your creativity, unlocking your creative potential or unblocking something, because this is the 8th house energy. The 8th house is one of the medical astrology houses that's connected with mental health, and it's also connected to trauma and psychological issues that reverberate into the physical body. So there's something here that's very triggering that's going to be coming up for you around the time of the eclipse, and acknowledging that, addressing it very quickly as it comes up and working through that energy is going to unlock a lot of potential for healing your physical body. It's almost as if you deal with this and then all of a sudden the right practitioner shows up, the right modality shows up, or things just start to work more harmoniously. This is also you having to deal with some sort of creative process in order to unlock more opportunities for yourself when it comes to your work and your career path moving forward, because that's going to be really big for Libras as well. For Scorpio and for Scorpio rising, this new moon annular solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius on the 17th is happening in your 4th house, which is the house of home, family, property, and real estate. So there could be something very disruptive that comes up for you involving a contract, an agreement, a negotiation that is related to your place of living. Maybe you're purchasing a home and things are going a little awry with the negotiations, or you're selling a home and the same thing is happening. Maybe you realize that you have to move really abruptly and break your lease. Maybe there's just a lot of fighting and disruption and chaos going on in your home or in your family life. Maybe there's arguments and disputes and disagreements going on with your partner or with your parents that come up very suddenly. There could also be shocking news that comes up very suddenly involving your place of living, involving your home, or involving your parents, or involving your family as a unit or as a whole. That could be very disruptive, and it could cause you to have to change course. It could cause you to have to do something that you weren't expecting to need to do. And it's not always necessarily that you do it all at once, but you do have to get things going because this is leading somewhere. There's a change you need to make in your home environment that will lead you to a much better and brighter future when it comes to your property, your place of living, maybe expanding in that way or moving to a better location, a better home, or renovating your home. There's something that needs to be addressed here involving an argument, dispute, disagreement with a family member maybe that will help you to have a deeper, more expansive, better connection connection, whatever's going on now is fated because it's paving the way for something new. This could also be messages that are coming up, awakenings, shocking realizations that occur involving, again, your home, your property, your place of living, your family, your parents, that are making you realize that you need to do something, take action on something. And they help to give you kind of a preview. These messages, these revelations are giving you a preview of what is coming, what the path is going to look like for you moving forward, especially this summer, July, August. And this is also, it's like you have to address something at your roots, maybe with your ancestry, with your family lineage, with your living situation, with your connection with your partner, or some sort of, again, negotiation agreement involving land, that opens up and paves the way for you to experience more joy, more creativity, to do the things that you love to do because you love to do them, to connect with your passion a lot more so as a result of this. This is also potentially having to deal with something in the home in order to make space for you to go on a really fun trip, have a really exciting adventure, and that adventure is definitely fated. If there's an opportunity coming up for you to take a trip to expand your horizons through a new experience, a new culture, this is the time to jump on it for sure. This could also be an opportunity to learn something new that you're very deeply passionate about, but you have to make changes at your roots, at your core. You have to get your house in order first, and something is coming up to kind of shake things a little bit. For Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, this new moon annular solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius is happening in your third house, which is the house of community and communication. There could be something very shocking and unexpected that comes up involving your literal neighborhood, your location, your neighbors. You could suddenly be having like an argument or a dispute with your neighbors. There could be a group or organization that is community oriented that you're a part of, where something very disruptive or unexpected comes up, or you have to take action on something or take on a leadership role very unexpectedly. There's definitely an unexpected message coming in involving your work, and especially from your coworkers or from somebody who maybe you employ or hire. That could be a big part of it too, but there's a work-related disruption or a work-related communication that's very disruptive that could come up around the time of the eclipse that becomes a bigger issue that you have to really address or do something with around the 27th when that Mars square to Uranus comes exact. There's definitely a new path that you're forging when it comes to your community and your connection with your neighbors, your neighborhood, your environment. There's maybe a new path that you're forging in your connection with your siblings, if that's applicable to you, where something shocking or unexpected could come up that could cause you to have to take action or change something, and you're going to develop a better, more expansive but also deeper and more fated connection with that person or those siblings as a result of that. This is leading somewhere though. It's almost as if I would say that there's a disruptive communication that comes in. For most of you, it's probably going to be work related, and it shows you that you need to get additional education or that you need to share your knowledge in a different way, and this becomes a fated part of your path moving forward, especially after July. In addition to this, there's a message that comes in. Again, it could be involving your community or neighborhood. It could be from a neighbor, someone that's around you, or it could be work related, and it breaks you free from something. So there's this beautiful opportunity coming in for you to have a much more harmonious, much more compassionate connection with your family, your parents. This is a beautification of your home environment. If you've been looking for opportunities to move, to relocate, to improve your home, to renovate, if you've been needing resources and money for that, that's going to come in from an outside source, potentially a spouse or significant other, but also it could be like financing or a loan coming through for something. But there's something here where there's a fated opportunity for you to deepen your connection with your roots, your ancestry, your family lineage, but also a fated opportunity to change something about your living situation to make it much more beautiful moving forward. For Capricorn and Capricorn rising, this new moon annular solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius is happening in your second house of money, finances, material possessions. So there's a disruptive message coming in about your finances. There's a need to take action on something, pivot. It could be an unexpected bill. It could be something that drains your savings. It could be the need to make a big purchase. It could also be new money coming in, and that sometimes can be very disruptive too, especially depending on the way that it comes about. There could be changes that you need to make to your budget, to your investments, in order to make space for you to do the creative projects and pursuits, the things that you're passionate passionate about. It's almost like, what am I saving all this money for? What am I working so hard for? I'm not enjoying it. It's not contributing to my overall sense of joy. That could be a big part of it too. There could also be the need to take action on something financial involving your children that comes up that's very disruptive and unexpected. So you need to pivot your financial planning in order to accommodate for something that your children need or your child needs, or, in order to accommodate for maybe adopting a child. Like, there could be something there for some of you. It's kind of like you need to break away from the old way of dealing with your finances in order to make space for the growth that is coming in. It's very likely you're going to have some growth coming in this summer and onward when the North Node transits your second house. And so whatever's disrupted right now, it might feel scary. People get very scared about money. Does not mean that this is leading somewhere bad. It's actually very likely leading to an expansion. It's just that you need to make these changes first. You need to address these things first in order for that to occur. Now, the other thing that's happening is there is a very beautiful harmonious energy that's coming up involving your connections with other people, your community, your communication with others, your relationships, especially your one-on-one partnerships. And so it's almost like clearing up the financial clutter improves your relationship, right? That could be a big part of it. Or opens up some energy so you can have a relationship, or it opens up something where you can contribute to your community in a bigger, better way. It opens up your ability to take on additional education, certifications, to travel somewhere, to connect with someone or something that is very fated and very tied in with your destiny in the way that you need to move forward. So love this energy for that. Aquarius and Aquarius rising. This new moon annular solar eclipse is happening in your sign on February 17th, and this is a big shakeup for Aquarius. There is something that you are disrupting. So you are the disruptor in this particular circumstance. It is all on you. Just kidding. There might be stuff coming from the outside, but really, for Aquarius rising people in particular, this is about like an internal agitation. This is you being the cause of the disruption and the chaos that's unfolding in your life. You feel like you need to jump in on something, you need to change something, you need to shift something. It could be coming from this unease when it comes to your living situation or your home environment. It could be from a chaotic or difficult family dynamic. It could be from the need to change where you live or what your career path looks like. It could be from the need to change something involving your relationships. Really, this reverberates out into a lot of different areas of your life. But the pattern here is you feel a sense of agitation, anger, anxiety. It's an unsettled energy where you feel like you need to be the change, you need to do something differently. And that is going to pave the way for the expansion, the new path that you're going to be moving into when the North Node moves into your sign in July and August, and we get these eclipses starting in August that are going to be hitting your ascendant and descendant. This could pave the way for a better, more beautiful relationship. This could pave the way for you to embrace who you are much more fully. This is you changing who you are and the way you show up in the world in a really huge, fundamental way, especially because Pluto's also in your sign, and you are preparing for that, and you need to shake things up, you need to disrupt things. And it might be very shocking to a lot of people in your life. You might have arguments and disputes and disagreements that come up, and you are the cause of it because you are the one that's rattling the cages. But it's almost like it's necessary for you to confront these things. By you making these changes and addressing these things, you're paving the way also for really big, beautiful financial opportunities. Potentially there could be a new income stream or a new opportunity involving your work or working for someone, or a new contract that comes in that brings blessings and beauty into your financial situation. There could also be a really important purchase that you want to make that involves something that's, again, very beautiful and luxurious. It could be artwork. It could be something that you would not normally spend money on for yourself, but like it comes up and you're able to do it. And it's just this really wonderful thing that you should definitely celebrate if that is the case. Or, just more money coming in could be a big part of this as well. For Pisces and Pisces rising. So for Pisces, this new moon annular solar eclipse, this is happening in your 12th house, which is the house of secrets, things that are kept hidden. It's also the house of hidden enemies. And when I see Mars transiting someone's 12th house, squaring Uranus as a part of an eclipse, I wonder if secrets are going to be revealed, and that's going to be a very disruptive thing. It could be your secrets that are revealed. You could be revealing somebody's secrets, or it could be that you realize that there's somebody who has been acting against you, a hidden enemy, and that comes to light, and that's very disruptive, and you have to confront that person. You have to communicate with them. This is a gossipy looking energy to me, but it's also like an inflammatory energy where it's like, okay, I have to address this. I have to confront this person. I can't just have this like floating around in the ethers anymore. And that's going to pave the way for a lot of rest and reprieve and a deepening of your connection to yourself, your subconscious, your unconscious realms. It's going to really help you connect more deeply to your spirituality and your inner world and your creativity. It's also going to just give you that space to rest and breathe when we have the nodes shifting signs into the sign of Aquarius. You're also going to be getting a lot of downloads and messages, especially in your sleep. Your sleep is probably very disruptive right now, and it will be for, a couple of weeks here. Definitely check out Celestial Self-Care if you haven't already done so. I will give you all the tips there for what's going on here in your chart. But the main thing is make sure you're getting enough physical activity during the day to help exert all of that extra energy that's pent up internally right now. There's a lot of internalized just energy, and that should help quite a bit. It's almost like this message comes through or you learn about something that somebody's doing or saying or something that's going on behind the scenes, and that is making you lose sleep. It's not worth losing sleep over. Address it, deal with it, move on, and you're going to benefit as a result of that. So it's almost like you clear this up. I really feel like this is gossip or something for a lot of people, because that beautiful energy of Venus exalted in Pisces with your ascendant in your first house with the North Node, it's like you come out on top. People view you as being in the right. People see you in a much more compassionate light. People see you in a much more beautiful light. It's like you become more charismatic. People are more drawn to you. People find you more likable. And it's because you have to address this first that this is able to come about. This is also you connecting with your creativity, your joy, your fun. But again, there's something nagging at you beneath the surface, subconsciously, behind the scenes, or there's something that someone's doing. If you don't address that, you're not going to open up this space for being able to connect more deeply with your joy, because that is expanding right now, and this is the perfect opportunity. This is you embracing and becoming more of who you are, embracing your path that you are fated to move into, and you're just going to be recognized for that. I think people are going to see what you're doing, and they're going to be like, yeah, Pisces, I want to do what you're doing. You're doing something right there. So wonderful energy. Also great time for like a haircut, makeover, something simple like that. That is my forecast for all 12 signs. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, make sure you like it, subscribe to my channel, comment below and let me know how your eclipse season is going, and share this with a friend if you feel like they could benefit from the information that I shared with you today. If you enjoyed this video, you'll like one of these forecasts floating around up here. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.